ticking and it's ticking fast. We've had enough, this greed can't last. So count your days. You raise the price, but the vibe ain't right. Monthly subscription bills on repeat. Prices rise, but the pay don't change. We're stuck in the middle of a losing game. Count your days. Your game's exposed, the whole world knows your time is up, no more to say. Claiming inflation, but we see the play. How much more do we have to pay? Count your days.
Tea sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. So it's time for another episode of Count Your Days.
Count your fucking days, bitch.
Count your days, bitch. So what's going down is this. So as you guys know, we talked about the whole Charlie Kirk situation on Friday when I did my first live stream back. And since then, it has just gotten crazier, okay? So right now, people are literally being fired from their jobs, being arrested, being charged with felonies. If you do anything to disparage Charlie Kirk, his name, his memory, you are being held accountable for your words on social media. Now, like I said from jump, I don't believe in celebrating anybody's death. I don't believe in that, even if you don't like that person, if you disagree with them. There's no reason to wish death on somebody or celebrate their death. Like the old saying goes, when you dig a grave for somebody else, you better dig two, okay? One for them and one for you. So I don't play them games. But I do feel like people do have a right to their opinion, their respectful opinion, which, Charlie Kirk, he was a bastion of free speech. He had all types of opinions, good and bad, that people of color and, LGBT agreed with or disagreed with, okay? And he wasn't, nice in his opinions. He wasn't, shy about stating how he felt. He was loud, he was proud, he was brash, even, a lot considered him rude, okay? But they're like shutting down folks. They have whole, list online. They're doxing people. It is getting nuts. So we're going to go ahead and watch some of these videos. And I knew it was going to get worse when Matthew Dowd from MSNBC got fired. I knew that once he got fired, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be up and stuck from here, okay? Because they can get rid of him in 24 hours. They can get rid of your Dunkin' Donuts working ass in less time, okay? So we're going to go through all these videos, people's opinions. We're going to start with some news clips. But yeah, it is getting real out here. And folks better tread lightly, especially if you need your job, if you don't work for yourself. And even if you work for yourself, you need to tread lightly because you need to think about who your customer base is. And if you live in the deep South, you may not want to piss off a lot of those folks either, okay? I mean, if you need them to patronize your business. So we're going to go ahead and get started now.
Republican Representatives Nancy Mace and Anna Paulina Luna blamed Democrats for the incident, but Democratic Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has differing views on the matter. Let's watch.
Political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence. And the president, what did he do? He pardoned them.
They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, the media, and all of these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now.
He followed up his remarks with this.
We're angry and we're resolute. And we're going to avenge Charlie's death in the way Charlie would want it to be avenged.
Meanwhile, MSNBC is being skewered for analyst Matthew Dowd's comments. Here are those words.
Saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
Now, Dowd has since been let go from the network, and MSNBC has issued an apology.
As we continue to learn more about the alleged assassin who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, we're also seeing a cascade of people being fired for their comments, appearing to celebrate Kirk's passing, including Office Depot, which fired a worker for refusing to print a memorial poster. Also, the NFL's Carolina Panthers football team said they fired an employee for a social media post appearing to mock Kirk's death. And then Bengals player nonprofit, the Joe Burrow Foundation, also fired an advisory board member who they say made inappropriate remarks in light of recent events. News Nation's Jorge Ventura live with more. And Jorge, we know the list is growing of more workers being fired from their jobs. What's the latest on this?
Yeah, that's right, Natasha. Those firings are racking up, and many of those social media posts either mocking or celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk are actually being amplified by conservative influencers or activists with large accounts. Some of these accounts, like Libs of TikTok, have over 4 million followers and are encouraging their audience to contact the employers of those making the posts. And one of those companies facing the online backlash from Kirk supporters is Delta Airlines, the company announcing the suspension and investigation into some of their employees, saying that their social media posts went well beyond healthy, respectful debate and that they were in stark contrast to the company's policies. We've also seen the NASDAQ firing a junior level employee on Friday as well. The NASDAQ also citing zero tolerance policy towards violence and commentary that condones or celebrates the murder of Charlie Kirk. We are seeing this across the board in different jobs, in sectors. The Guilford Technical Community College in North Carolina recently announcing that they terminated a part-time instructor for similar reasons, citing that the social media posts did not share the college's respectful and learning working environment. And now Clemson University also under fire. Now we have South Carolina Congressman Thomas Beach calling for cuts to the university's funding at the professors posted celebratory remarks. The hashtag Clemson on X is also trending right now because of it. We have also now seen a new statement from Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy today saying that American airline pilots were grounded and removed because they were caught celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, also saying that that behavior is, quote, disgusting and
not the airline pilots being grounded and fired and there's an airline shortage. Oh my goodness. You can't make this up.
Should be fired, and that their behavior glorifying political violence is completely unacceptable. And this spree of firings have even gone local to employees at law firms and restaurants. But we're seeing this massive campaign right now, especially on X and Tasha, of these huge accounts with millions of followers encouraging their audiences to contact the employers and making this push.
Meanwhile, social media posts and messages around the murder of Charlie Kirk are being spotlighted by a doxing website created by some conservative activists. And one of the websites is called Expose Charlie's Murderers. As of this morning, the site does not appear to be active anymore, but on Saturday, the front page said it had received nearly 30,000 submissions of posts. Organizers said they wanted to out people who are calling for violence with the hope that some of them lose their jobs. But most of the messages posted did not seem to call for violence. In most cases, posts called out divisive comments made by Charlie Kirk that people have found offensive. For context, here's a couple of things he said on his show, The Charlie Kirk Show.
Here's what's upsetting to me, Heather, is if I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? Multiculturalism is a very, very difficult project. In fact, we should have uniculturalism. One culture, Americanism.
So now we're going to go ahead and watch some of the people's videos who were fired and their reactions to their firing right now.
To corporate and got me fired. Thank you. And I know that everybody is going to see this video. Sent that video to corporate and got me fired.
As you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
To the person that sent that video to corporate and got me fired, thank you. And I know that everybody is going to see this video too, and that's okay. I'm not going to say anything wrong. Did I realize that what I was saying in that video was going to lead to this? No, I would have never fucking done that. But it seems like with my life, no matter how hard I fucking try, I end up fucking shut up. But I know that everything happens for a fucking reason. And I may not know right now what that reason is, but eventually God will reveal that to me. I love helping addicts. I love helping people. This job stressed me the fuck out some days, But I didn't care because it was worth it, because I was helping people. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. My daughter is about to go to college, and I don't know now how I'm going to pay for that. But I know that I'll figure it out. And if you want to send this video to corporate too, that's fine. But to anybody that creates content, if you work at a treatment facility, if you work in healthcare, watch what you say very carefully, because it doesn't matter if you don't speak somebody's name. Just describing a situation is enough to get you fired. I did not know that, but now I sure do now. I don't know what I'm meant to do in this life. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I am trying to follow the path that I thought God had for me and wanted for me, but I just keep getting thrown different ways. Maybe I make stupid decisions, yes, but my intentions are always fucking good.
Comments about Charlie Kirk on the day that he was shot. I said some things on Blue Sky and on Threads that I'm sorry, not sorry for, but I said them and I deleted them when it was requested that I do so by my employer. And then today, on a weekend, I'm told that I am no longer employed at Microsoft.
Damn.
After 6 years, building the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department from scratch, I lose my job because one of you, some random person, reports my posts to my employer, goes out of their way to find out where I work, and takes my job, takes my security away from me for a thought, for an opinion. And you talk about freedom of speech like you care about it, and you're just going to take my money, my life, my food off my plate because I don't like Charlie Kirk? That's not okay. It is not okay to target me because I felt joy that day. I can't help how I feel. I felt joy. That's me. That's what I believe.
You should never feel joy for anybody's death, but we also have to keep it real. This man is clearly gay, LGBT friendly. Is he going to have a lot of sympathy for somebody who wants him eradicated, who has made a lot of like really, derogatory, snide remarks towards his community? And granted, he shouldn't be celebrating it, but I don't see him mourning the death of Charlie Kirk either. But again, actions have consequences, unfortunately.
That's what I think of him. I can't help that. So I don't deserve the job?
Thousands of people have gone online celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk, and many of them are now losing their jobs. Many of the people you've seen cheering on the passing of Charlie Kirk started with this man who just moments after Charlie Kirk was struck, right in front of him, was cheering on video that Charlie Kirk was hit. Then you have this woman who was a nurse going on TikTok celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk, and now people have found out where she works and are talking to her employers. This man who wrote this entire statement here is actually in the military, and people have already alerted Pete Hegseth, who is essentially this man's boss, and will probably be trying to do something about it. You have another woman who is a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher's aide who was posting about that she wished she would have heard of another obituary talking about Donald Trump, but instead she would settle for Charlie Kirk. And this man, probably the most prominent person to be fired after their comments on Charlie Kirk, was Matthew Dowd, who was actually working at MSNBC and went on air saying some absolutely terrible things. But more and more of these videos are coming out, and more of these people are going to be losing their jobs.
Further ado, let's get into it. Gabrielle from Illinois, you're fired. Lincoln from Utah, you're fired. Amanda, another Amanda from Wyoming, you've been terminated. Suck it. Shasta from Washington State, your ass is fired. And Curtis, again from Texas. What the hell, Texans? What the fuck? Curtis from Texas, you've also been terminated. You're welcome. Now, truth being told, I've probably lost about 50,000 followers throughout all social medias while I'm doing this, but I would rather have every single one of my accounts hit 0 before I give in to these people. So if you want to try and affect me or affect my income by unfollowing me, I don't care. I would much rather go back to a 9-to-5 job than let this kind of shit slide. And I know for a fact that over half of this country agrees with what I'm doing. So hopefully they start finding me pretty soon. So go ahead and do your whole mass unfollowing and everything like that, because again, I would rather see all my accounts hit 0 than letting you guys try and bully me into not doing this anymore. And if you agree with what I'm doing, please hit that follow button. Counteract their mass unfollowing of me.
Today I got fired from my job. I'm a real estate agent, and I got fired because something that I post in Instagram, and they called me to the office and they asked me to remove everything, which I did. And after I removed the post and the picture that I put, I was told that I'm no longer working for the company. And all this is because of my manager, Monica, and she's the one that created all this shady scenario. She's the one that pushed for me to lose my job. And today I'm outside my house because I don't have the balls to see my wife and tell her what happened, and I had kids. And I'm going to tell you the whole story, and I'm going to show you the picture that I put in Instagram, because you need to see that to understand how severe was the problem that we have.
Or if I'll post this, but today's September 15th and it's 9:05 a.m. and yesterday at 5 p.m. I was fired from my job for posting a video saying I don't care about Charlie Kirk's death. In the video that I posted, I specifically said I wasn't celebrating it, but that I just don't care. And yet I was still fired from a job where my role was to increase educational equity to all students. That was my job. That was wasn't really just my job, it was my identity too. That's been my whole career. How can we get the highest quality education to as many students? For this job, I worked at a nonprofit where I taught reproductive health to LGBTQ youth and youth in foster care in Dallas, Texas. And that was hard, but after I did it, I was so proud of myself, and I told myself I wouldn't go back to a job where I couldn't be my authentic self, and I thought that's what I had in my job. And actually, the funny thing is I wasn't fired for saying that I don't care about it, because everyone on my team agrees with that, or everyone I've talked to, and people can say that, and I would have been okay to say that in my team chat at work. But I was fired because I was doxxed by someone who knows me, and they posted my job and my LinkedIn to the white supremacists. And so that's why I was fired, not actually because of what I said, which also hurts because I was getting my job.
So what's going on with a lot of these people? Like she said, she didn't really say anything bad. Is that once your information is posted, you're doxxed. So you have multiple people calling the employer over and over and over again. And I don't care if it's the Charlie Kirk situation or if you're viral on social media for doing something stupid. Once your employer's information gets out there, people will call the employer over and over again, and that leads to issues at the company. So if you're getting constant calls, hang-ups, prank calls, that's going to be an issue for the company. So I believe that's why she was fired as well. And a lot of these people were fired because these people are calling their jobs over and over again.
I liked it a lot. And I feel so grateful because my coworkers have been reaching out to me and just telling me they'll be my references and making sure I'm okay. And it feels good to know that I built a community there and that the people there see my character what it was. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Sorry. I don't know if I'll post this. But I know that in the end I'll be okay, and this isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Honestly, it's not by a lot. I will be okay. I'll find a job. that I like and doing something that's important to me. And I know that because if this hadn't happened, I was on the track for promotion at my other job. Like, I know I'll be okay, but it just hurts to be left out to dry.
Now, somebody in her comments said the following. They said, I was fired as well. I said I struggled to find empathy for him. I worked for FQHC. I was doxxed by a January 6th rioter who was pardoned by a 34-time felon and fired. Ooh-wee. So it's getting real out here. It really is.
We came in for an order earlier to print a poster for a vigil tonight.
Yeah, so
for somebody that passed. It's not
it's propaganda. I'm sorry. We don't put that here.
Alrighty. So, what's your name?
Carol.
I'm print supervisor.
I'm one of the managers.
Yes.
So, unfortunately,
so they say they don't print political propaganda. So this is somebody that passed away a couple years ago.
That's political propaganda, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
This is for a prayer tonight, for a prayer vigil?
It's still propaganda, unfortunately.
What makes it propaganda?
Because he's a political figure, and I don't have to.
Our general manager is going to be in on Monday. If you want to speak further on the subject, you are welcome to return.
So she was fired. This went viral. I think that we're wrong for not printing it. At the end of the day, I don't understand the whole political propaganda, regardless of the situation. This isn't your company. Home Depot is a separate, not Home Depot, what is this? Office Depot, excuse me, is a separate entity. She should have just printed it. Printed it, get the money, move on about your business. You know, I didn't know that certain things they couldn't print. I mean, I could see if it was something crazy like, you know, a dead body or, you know, child porn or some mess like that. But for a visual, she should have just did her job, even if she didn't agree. Point blank, period.
So I got fired from my job today because one of you guys decided to send my videos, my Charlie Kirk videos, to my boss. Yeah. I don't know who did it. They won't tell me. They were sent anonymously to my boss.
Anonymously.
My boss pulled me in the office today and he pulls up his phone and he said, "This you?" Oh. And I looked at it and I was like, "Nah, boss, that ain't me." And then of course I pop up on screen, so I can't deny it, that it was me. Who did it, MAGA? Which one of you guys got me fired, bro? Send my video to my boss. Who does that? Yo, and on top of that, you got my account almost banned, bro. I didn't even say nothing bad about Charlie. Alright?
His boss said, "This you? Pedro, this you?" Damn. That is getting real out here, y'all. It's getting real.
The other side is now assaulting people, taking away their livelihoods, putting their lives and their children's well-being in jeopardy because they're not sufficiently mournful of a racist, Christian, nationalist bigot who hated Americans, unless you were white and sufficiently MAGA.
You will lose your job. You will lose your citizenship. You will lose your rights. You will lose your fucking life if you speak on this man, Charlie. This man has become more powerful than a motherfucking... Like, this man has become so powerful, y'all. People talk more crazy about Trump than they do Charlie Kirk, and no one has become as serious as this man when it comes down to... You have Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, because now our Department of fucking Defense is now called the Secretary of War for some reason, who made a statement stating that anyone speaking down on Charlie Kirk, they have to be dealt with. They have taken people off their fucking flights for placing their opinion on Charlie Kirk. People in the military are getting dealt with. People in these fucking nursing, who have nursing degrees, are losing their jobs. People from all over the fucking world are placing their opinions in regards to how they feel about this man, and they're losing their fucking jobs. They're losing their jobs. People are ready to put their life on the line for you stating your fucking opinion. You know, freedom of speech, freedom to just think how you want to think, feel how you want to feel, has become illegal at this point.
A few moments later.
I just had to block all of my friends because they just have such different political beliefs from me, and I thought that we were the type of friends who would live together someday after college and like stay in touch no matter what, and I thought these were the people that I would spend my life with and grow old next to. These were the people who saved my life on multiple different occasions.
Well, maybe your friends don't, like the fact that you're celebrating somebody's death. I mean, friends have different points of views and different opinions. So maybe that made your friends uncomfortable, and they let you know about yourself and you didn't want to hear it, so you blocked them.
Now, we know one thing about Robert De Niro is that he is desperately trying to actually get any kind of role out there possible, whether it's a mob boss film or anything to do with a comedic movie. What's interesting here, though, is that with the assassination of Charlie Kirk causing many of those around the country to share their emotions and to support Kirk's family and friends, unfortunately many celebrities and those in the media have either mocked Charlie, politicized the situation, or lied about him in various ways. One of which included Robert De Niro turning the Charlie situation into a full-fledged Trump rant just a couple of days ago and blaming Trump's policies on the situation. However, one major development going on now involves more to do with the fallout that De Niro is dealing with, as he was recently fired by a well-known studio as a result of politicizing the death of Charlie Kirk. It turns out that Robert De Niro was fired and let go by Apple Studios for a brand new film that they have been putting together for months now that was set to focus on yet another mob boss story. Sigh, I know, quite repetitive at this point.
The sheets are off and it's out in the open. People getting fired just for criticizing Charlie Kirk only proves that free speech only protects white conservatives and white supremacists and not those who preach love and unity and fight hatred. Kirk should not be respected. His whole career was built on recruiting young white people into racism and recruiting young black people only to teach them to hate themselves. He spread self-hatred to black youth and preached white supremacy to white youth, making them feel godly over other races. His whole strategy was to divide and conquer, uplifting white supremacy while silencing black pride, brown pride, LGBTQ voices, and all other minorities. That deserves condemnation, not honor. Firing people over criticism of Kirk shows that these corporations value racism more than workers. And that right there proves that capitalism protects white supremacy before justice. And you can't separate capitalism from racism. You can't have capitalism without racism. And that's just the truth. In America, protecting white supremacy always comes before doing what's right. And that's the real hypocrisy right there.
Getting out of hand, a Washington Post columnist was fired from her job for literally quoting something that Charlie Kirk said, and there's proof that he said this on the internet. I'll prove it too. Watch this clip of J.D. Vance denying that Charlie Kirk ever said this, and then I'll play the clip of him saying those exact words.
The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never.
They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
In that clip, he was referring to Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, and Justice Jackson, saying that none of them have the brain processing power to be taken seriously or get a job fair and square, so they have to rely on DEI. A Washington Post columnist quoted him and called out this insane behavior, and then she was fired from her job for, quote, endangering her colleagues. To make things even worse, they apparently rushed her out of her job without even having a conversation with her. That is a clear and obvious violation of free speech as well as the journalistic fairness the Post claims to uphold. It's one thing to justify political violence. That is never okay or acceptable in any scenario, but she was not doing that. She just pointed out something that he said. A majority of these people being doxxed and losing their jobs are just pointing out that they don't like Charlie Kirk or agree with the insane things that he would say. The MAGA crowd needs to understand the most important type of free speech that's worth fighting for and protecting is the speech that you don't agree with.
Holiday. Charlie Kirk people who got fired from their jobs after making statements and being happy, you fucking deserved it. Now, I made a video saying, who the fuck is Charlie Kirk? Because I watched 6 videos and everybody mentioned his name, but nobody said anything. 3 people were saying, oh, what a tragedy. 3 people were celebrating. I didn't know how to take it because it went both ways. So when I found out what it was and that he had passed, because I couldn't even tell that from the 6 videos, then found out that all these people were out there, hoorah. That's horrible. You didn't get fired for having an opinion. You got fired for being a piece of shit, cold-hearted motherfucker, and they don't want you representing their company. What are you not getting? They're like, you celebrated a man's life being taken. That means you would celebrate a boss that you're disgruntled with, right? Yeah. Think of it that way. Think of it that way. They don't want somebody cold-hearted like you.
There would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the HR offices today of the multiple amount of nurses that I saw yesterday mocking the death of Charlie Kirk. I'm sure their conversations with HR this morning didn't go quite the way they saw that whole scenario playing out. You know, as a nurse, I'm not a nurse, I'm saying, you've worked so hard to get there. Countless nights of studies and lack of sleep and loss of sleep and family time and sweat and tears that you put in to become that nurse, to care for everybody. It's an oath you take, you know. To let that all crumble from one stupid thing that you do on this app, which is mock the death of somebody. Well, I hear McDonald's and Taco Bell and Burger King and Wendy's are hiring.
All right, we got some breaking news just coming in that a healthcare worker out of Virginia, an anesthesiologist, was just fired from the hospital for making social media posts supporting the death of Charlie Kirk. This anesthesiologist, based out of Riverside, Walter Reed Hospital, has been put on administrative leave effective immediately, says the administration over at Riverside, that this type of violence and supporting this violence is not what we do over here. And we would expect from our healthcare workers to be more mindful than that as we treat every one of our patients equally and fairly, no matter which political side of the spectrum that they're on. North American partners have come out and confirmed that this employee's contract has been terminated effective immediately. And I'm going to tell this anesthesiologist, like I'm telling everybody else, do not let your political views get the best of you.
It's okay to celebrate the death of an innocent man online. And we've seen this time and time again, and somehow you guys just don't learn that when you put disgusting things out there on the internet, it says a lot about who you are as a person, and people don't like to employ demonic psychopaths. So just a couple of people. We've got the Carolina Panthers fire communications coordinator, unemployed. We've got the assistant dean of students from Middle Tennessee State University. Clearly, you shouldn't be around students or human beings at all, so you're without a job. We've got a Meridian High School employee fired for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Again, nowhere near education or children or people, as a matter of fact, maybe a straitjacket in a padded room. Got the executive assistant at University of Mississippi fired for comparing Charlie Kirk to the KKK. Again, someone employed in education, yet doesn't know anything about the KKK or Charlie Kirk, so it's a good thing you're no longer employed there. Can't have you.
You said I have to leave the premises immediately? Okay. So, guess I'll see you guys later. I'm fired. You guys take care. Good luck, okay? Kind of relief. You guys have a good one.
Oh man, I feel good. I just got fired. And honestly, when they told me, I was like a little like, eh. But then after, I was like, fuck this. They're back there having their little chat together. The guy that let me go was trying to block me from saying goodbye to my coworkers right now. Like, he was like guarding them or something. And then that's when I was like, okay, bye. Goodbye, guys. I'll see you later. They let me go. They fired me. He looked all disappointed. But honestly, dude, I feel relieved. I feel very relieved. I mean, I'm going to be fucked if I'm not going to get unemployment, but fuck it, dude. As they were like having me sign my forms and shit and like terminating me. Wait, let me say goodbye to my friend Michael. Hi, Michael. I'm done. Yeah, so it is what it is. But I think the relief that I'm feeling is a good sign because I did not want to do my shift today anyways. Like, I had a bunch of number 1 lessons, and that's dealing with first timers, so fuck it, dude, I'm feeling good.
Just looking at her, my first impression would be that she seems like a kind, compassionate, loving young lady. It turns out, though, that she's a nurse at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta who said, F Charlie Kirk's kids, F his ancestors, especially the bitch who birthed him. And she has been fired. As a parent, hearing the statement, F that person's kids after they were violently murdered, showing absolutely no compassion for the children at all whatsoever, that's not somebody that I would want in charge of my kids' healthcare. So I'm glad that she's in the unemployment line, but what do y'all think? Let me know down in the comments.
So just so we're clear, if you are a racist teacher in the U.S., in Florida, for instance, it's okay to say racist things. However, if you make commentary about the fact that you're not upset or not sad for losing Charlie Kirk, you can be fired. Yeah. So racist, okay, but not in support of Charlie Kirk, not okay. I know I have a lot of followers from all over the world that are baffled by how we do things here in the US, and I'm sure this is just adding to the list. We are already in a major teacher shortage, so I can't even imagine what happens to some of our kids now. And also, if you're in the military and you're found to be making disparaging marks on Charlie Kirk, you can be sanctioned for that as well.
So like I said, y'all, it is getting real out here. So on top of people getting fired, people are now also being arrested, being charged with felonies. There's a viral story of a young black girl in Texas. She went crazy at a Charlie Kirk vigil and she was arrested. Another woman pushed an older gentleman on the ground. They charged her with a felony in Florida. So it is getting real out here. Not just firing, but arrests are also coming as well. So you guys see here, it says Florida woman charged with felony after allegedly assaulting a 73-year-old during a Charlie Kirk vigil.
After the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, violence has been reported at vigils.
Yeah, a woman in the Village is now facing charges after police say she tackled another woman during a vigil for Kirk. And now the victim is speaking exclusively with Fox 35's Kelsey Cairns.
That victim telling me this was never supposed to get violent in the first place. The Village's MAGA Club holding that prayer vigil for Charlie Kirk here at Lake Sumter Landing. And it was actually during a prayer that that suspect allegedly charged at the woman. Where's the police? That's assault. Be accountable.
This is video of 56-year-old Courtney Beth Anderson. She's accused of pushing the co-founder to the Village's MAGA Club, Valerie Jamison, to the ground. You can see event goers restraining Anderson until help arrives. Lady Lake police say Anderson charged at the victim and pushed her to the ground. It happened right after Jamison asked her to leave for shouting and waving her middle finger at people during the event.
I walked towards her and I said, "You're not coming up here. You need to get out of here." And she just pushed me like that. And I fell back, head hit the concrete. And I was so angry.
Jamison is expected to be okay. She says the attack is not stopping her or her husband from putting on more Village's MAGA Club events in the future.
Right now, Anderson is facing a charge of battery on a person over 65 years old. She was released on bond today from Sumter County Jail. Reporting in the Villages tonight, I'm Kelsey Cairns.
The Benton County Sheriff's Office is investigating after video shows two people appearing to vandalize a memorial for Charlie Kirk that was outside the Benton County Courthouse. The memorial is no longer there, and 5 News is not going to show that video until we know who recorded it and we have permission to air it. We can tell you it shows someone tearing up signs and kicking items that were left on the courthouse steps. The sheriff's office tells us they know about the video and they're investigating. So far, they haven't released any more details.
There was also something, State Senator, that happened yesterday that was very disturbing. And there was a 19-year-old in Phoenix who was wearing a shirt very similar to the one that the alleged assassin wore, which showed an American flag and an eagle on it. And he trampled a memorial outside the Turning Point USA headquarters for Charlie. And you see some people getting involved right there and stopping this person from desecrating this memorial for Charlie. He was later arrested and is being charged. But this obviously raises concerns over copycats. As a friend of Charlie's, how do you respond to this?
Well, listen, it's disgusting and it's despicable, the reaction from the left. Far too many.
So, like I said, as you see, they are arresting people. Now, let me find you this other viral story, this black girl.
Yo, homie dead! Look at that. Yo, homie dead! He got shot in the head! Yo, homie dead! Yeah, homie dead!
Evil is real, people, and it kind of looks like that.
So I found a longer video. This is showing in more detail what she was doing at the vigil. So we're going to go ahead and check this out right here.
Charlie Kirk hated
You're very loud.
Why are you so hateful? Yeah.
Hey, can somebody tell her to back up?
Can you not put the camera in my face?
Murder is bad. She is evil.
Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. He got shot in the head. Fuck your homie dead.
You're so brave. She started saying, haha, your homie dead. For saying this.
Homie dead. Look at me, everybody. Look at me. Look at me.
Evil is real, people, and it kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
Evil. Evil.
You're stereotyping.
Explain
right now. I've yet to receive my reparations for slavery.
You don't deserve it.
You basically just called me a nigger. Oh my God.
All right, I really hate this because she allowed herself and her emotions to now be the face for Turning Point USA and all the MAGA people, you know, going in on her. She played into stupid stereotypes. My thing is, this really isn't even black folks' business right now, you know, especially when they're not out here playing. From what I'm hearing from an updated news source, she's been expelled. You know, they may be charging her because they say she also pushed somebody. It's like, why even feed into this? This is what they want. They want stuff like this. So that way they can be like, look, the left is unhinged and liberal lunatics and this, and that. She totally played into it when really it just, you know, just stay away from this. It's not going to end well if that's how you're going to behave at the vigil. They are arresting people. You know what I'm saying? They're making examples of people. And now she's been expelled. And for what? You know, granted, yes, we all have freedom of speech, but like I always say, there's also consequences to that. And right now they're saying anybody who's disrespecting this man, they're going to come after and they're going to make an example out of her. And the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said this: definitely picked the wrong school to taunt the death of Charlie Kirk. Thanks, Texas Tech.
Meanwhile, a Texas Tech student is no longer enrolled and is now facing misdemeanor charges after allegedly assaulting another student who is mourning Charlie Kirk's death. Her name is Cameron Booker. An arrest affidavit says an officer saw Booker hit another student who was holding a sign that said, "Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk." The victim told the officer that he did not want that it did not hurt and he did not want to press any charges. The officer then cited Booker for assault. Several videos of this incident have circulated online. In a statement, the university said in part, any behavior that denigrates victims of violence is reprehensible and has no place on our campus and is not aligned with our values. It confirmed that Booker is no longer enrolled at the school.
So like I said, folks, it's getting real. She's been expelled. And even though the student doesn't even want to press charges on her, they're moving forward and charging her with assault. So they are going hard for Charlie Kirk. You know, it's just like, it's crazy because, again, freedom of speech goes both ways. So if you, and again, I don't agree with people celebrating, but people posting his words, posting the things that he said, like that's insane. It's not AI. These were his words. These were his feelings. People having dialogue. I find that very interesting that now, you know, a lot of conservatives want to shut that down and they're saying, you know, you cannot have anything, you know, no dissension against Charlie Kirk. But I remember a few months ago when that Shiloh lady in Minnesota went viral for calling the little boy the N-word. And, you know, people were trying to get her fired from her job. And all these right-wingers came together to start her GoFundMe. She got like $700K, you know, to protect her and to help her in case she got fired from her job. And I remember a lot of them talking about you shouldn't let words affect you. I remember that was like Mark Dice's whole talking point. Oh, who cares? It's just a word. You know, you shouldn't let words affect you that much. Let me go ahead and refresh some of y'all's memory because I find it very interesting now that the energy is very different. Not even a few months later. And I'm not comparing this to Charlie Kirk's killing or anything like that. The lady didn't kill anybody. But what I'm saying is that the energy is very different because when it was a few months ago, everything was freedom of speech. It doesn't matter if you're offended. We don't care. But now the people who are just stating their opinion on Charlie Kirk, not even the shooting incident, just on things that he's done in the past that they didn't agree with, it's shut them down. And that's it.
And the battle against cancel culture has emerged, and this test will determine who actually does support free speech and is against anti-whiteism, and who is a neocon, conservative Inc., establishment media coward. This woman, Shiloh Hendricks, was captured on video, purportedly in a park in Minnesota, using the little N-word, which we all know hurts a lot of black people's feelings. And oftentimes doesn't really hurt their feelings. They just pretend it does. They use that as leverage to try to gain power over white people because of their black fragility. And every time this happens, you know what the twits on TikTok do. They spend their entire day and week trying to identify the individual and then dox them, publish their personal information, call their employer, harass them, and then get them fired, and try in every way possible to ruin their life. But not this time. White people are fighting back, along with many assimilated non-white people who view themselves as Americans, not hyphenated Americans, and don't see everything through a racial lens, to support and protect her family, because when someone gets doxxed and gets as the target of the TikTok mob, all kinds of unimaginably horrible things happen. And so she set the goal, I think, pretty low, but as always, people just keep raising the goal as the money keeps raising as well. And so the goal is $250,000, and she has raised so far $205,000 because obviously
she got up to 700,000 when this was all said and done. But do you see how his energy is so different? He's talking about doxing, how bad it is, and, you know, people's jobs being affected. We'll continue. So now this is an updated video when he's talking about Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro. Not, you know, they're on different sides of the spectrum when it came to this story. But I found this very interesting, what he said here.
Ruined by cancel culture, and instead the Give Send Go page has raised almost $700,000 to not only just protect her and her family and give her a war chest to fight against the threats, the doxing, the lawfare that's coming her way, but also, and even more importantly so, to send a message that we're not going to allow people's lives to be ruined by idiots on the internet because they said a little word that hurts certain black people's feelings.
All right, so you guys just saw those clips. I just wanted to kind of show you guys that it's very interesting that when black folks are offended by something, it's, you know, whatever, we're going to start a Give, Send, Go. We don't care. Freedom of speech. Get over it. They're just words. the energy is very different this time around. And again, I don't agree with anybody celebrating. But for people who are actually having mature dialogue, like the young black man who was talking in the video earlier, you know, why should people who are having mature dialogue be doxxed and threatened and everything else? You know, and again, freedom of speech is supposed to work on both ends, right? Because a lot of conservatives do not like when their speech is affected. That's why some people rallied around Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk basically had the freedom, you know, to say what he wanted to say. You know, he had his own company with Turning Point USA. That's why a lot of people like Candace Owens, because basically she says whatever is on her mind, you know, with very little consequences, and, you know, and whoever else. So now it's very interesting that the shoe's on the other foot, and people who may not have been extreme as some of the crazy people who were extreme are being fired. So now on top of the arrest, the firing of people, you know, saying things on social media, also some things going on at the vigils are people fighting back. The divisiveness is getting crazier. So we're going to go ahead and watch this video. They said that this left-winger came trying to start mess. They ended up beating him up and macing him. So this video is currently going viral today all over TikTok.
It was God. He walked up. I'm sorry, what God is. Gold spray paint. He just walked up, started spraying it. And everybody jumped in.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you fuck with proud Americans. You get your ass beat.
He's with the swing and the dudes on the wall.
This is what happens.
I told the guy, right, you don't do this, we're better than this.
This is what happens when you do this shit in Pensacola. You get your ass fucking beat. Look at this little bitch. Crying like a little bitch. Maybe next time you don't go down to a fucking memorial and try to spray paint and be disrespectful. This is what you get. When will you guys learn? When will you guys learn? When will you guys learn? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Larry too.
Hey, did he get hit?
I don't know.
I think somebody maced him. No, his face is all colored. Like, not black, but like, yeah. No, but literally it's colored, like there's paint, or there's, looks like mace. Yeah. No. This is what happens when you mess with proud Americans. We're getting tired. We're getting tired, boys. This is what happens.
He's pulling a George Floyd over here.
Yeah, trying to
breathe.
He can't breathe, huh?
He's got the fent folds.
Yeah. Or maybe
and then he's got these two women here holding him like a little baby.
Literally.
Happy, oh yeah, she's a Juneteenth. Yeah. She's wearing a MAGA hat.
No, it says fuck Trump on the
Oh, it says fuck Trump.
Or said major look fuck
This is
Trump.
what happens when you fuck with proud Americans. We're getting tired of it.
Guys, I'm standing over you because the photographer to take a picture.
Yep. As is our right. As is our right.
And this is my right to
That's
do
right.
as well.
What do you think was going to happen to you guys when you guys came down here?
I saw how much weed blew out of your car when he pulled in here too.
What do you guys think was going to happen when he did that? I don't know. It was pretty dumb idea.
All right, so you guys just saw that video. So like I said, you know, the violence is definitely upticking. You know, at the end of the day, you can just see the divisiveness in this country growing further and further. It's insane. It really is. There's so much going on with this death, you know, on top of the things that Candace Owens is saying that she's calling out. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but it's such a divide right now. I mean, it is crazy. But what I do want people to know is if you need your job, you have to watch the things that you say and do on social media. I've been saying this forever when I do these reaction videos. This is not the first time. We've had people fired from their jobs, you know, for other reasons. you got to understand that even though your social media page is your quote unquote page, you are a representative of that company. And if they deem that you've said something or done something that's unbecoming of that company that gives you a paycheck, they can and will get rid of you. And I think a lot of companies are feeling the pressure because of everything that's coming down from the White House. They're not playing when it comes to this Charlie Kirk situation. Like I said, I didn't even know much about him until recently. So it's like the fact that all of this is going on and the fact that they're going so hard is insane. You know, again, I'm like, was he a political figure low key? Because I've never seen anything like this. But if you need your job, you have to act accordingly. You know, a lot of people are saying that they're going to go get a lawyer, they're going to sue. There's not a lot of things that you can do technically because a lot of jobs are, especially if you live in an at-will state. Like I remember when I used to live in North Carolina, that was an at-will state. They can fire you for anything. And a lot of companies are now doing that where they're at-will companies and they can get rid of you for any little thing. And if they feel like you're doing too much on social media, they can and will fire you. So right now you have to think long and hard. Is it worth it to leave certain comments, to post certain videos, to, you know, talk about certain things? Because people are losing their nursing licenses. You know, they're getting fired from their good paying corporate jobs. I know Stephen King said something on social media and they're trying to like cancel him. He had to walk it back and apologize. So I really much feel like this is definitely impeding on freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is definitely going out the window. And that's going to happen on both sides. You know, you gotta, you know, watch what you wish for because a pendulum will swing both ways. And so it's just, I don't know, the whole thing is just really, it's really disheartening to watch how bad and how divided America is getting slowly but surely. So it's just giving thought police vibes. But you know what, tea sippers, I leave the conversation up to you guys. Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. How do you guys feel about all of this craziness that's going on concerning the whole Charlie Kirk situation? How do you feel about people getting fired, people getting arrested? You know, just people from all walks of life losing their job behind all of this. And do you feel like, you know, people's freedom of speech are slowly being eroded, especially on, you know, platforms like social media? Because one thing people need to understand is if you have a job, your boss does not want to be inundated with a bunch of phone calls. So you do have to be mindful of what's said on social media because it can and will be used against you in a, you know, social media court of law. So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Please leave a comment down below. I look forward to reading y'all's comments and I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.